Case is that a lot of the records that people love were born of silent and secret pain that was covered up by corruption.
Jaguar Wright's explosive allegations have thrust her into the center of a storm that could reshape the music industry. Her claims, intertwined with a high-profile legal case against Sean Diddy Combs, suggest a reckoning for an industry long accused of concealing its darkest secrets behind glamour, power, and non-disclosure agreements. Wright, known for her unfiltered commentary on the entertainment world, has never shied away from naming names or exposing what she perceives as systemic abuses. Now, her involvement in this case, coupled with reported evidence like secret tapes, threatens to unravel a web of exploitation that could implicate some of the industry's most powerful figures. The next 8 months may reveal truths that shake the foundations of Hollywood and the music business, forcing a confrontation with long-buried realities. Wright's narrative begins with her own experiences, painting a grim picture of the industry's underbelly. She recounts her early days in the music scene, driving from Philadelphia to New York's Hudson Street, passing the Holland Tunnel to perform at venues like Black Lily Roots. Initially, her shows drew modest crowds, 15 or 20 people, but within months, lines stretched around corners as her reputation grew. These memories, filled with the thrill of building her name, contrast sharply with the darker truths she later uncovered. Wright describes a system where young women were exploited, drugged, and coerced into signing non-disclosure agreements for meager sums to stay silent about horrific abuses. She recalls being tasked with handling these transactions, receiving stacks of NDAs and $5,000 in cash weekly during the 1990s to ensure victims' silence. One chilling anecdote involves a woman, disoriented and unaware of the extent of her assault, asking for a hot cup of tea to soothe her sore throat after enduring unimaginable trauma for just $200. Another woman, a pre-law student, demanded $25,000, exposing the disparity in how victims were treated based on their savvy or background. Black women, Wright notes, often accepted the least compensation, sometimes even settling for backstage passes when cash ran dry. These stories, rooted in her first-hand observations, fuel her mission to expose the industry's complicity in such practices. The case against Diddy has brought these allegations to a boiling point. Wright's involvement, particularly her reported delivery of secret tapes to prosecutors, has sparked intense speculation about their contents. While details remain scarce, the buzz suggests these recordings could contain damning evidence tied to Diddy's alleged role in exploitative systems. Wright's history of calling out powerful figures lends weight to her claims, but the courtroom will test their credibility under intense scrutiny. If authenticated, the tapes could serve as a pivotal piece of evidence, much like recordings in past high-profile cases that transformed rumors into undeniable truths. Legal analysts predict that new evidence could extend the trial by 8 months, prolonging public and legal scrutiny of Diddy's influence and empire. For Wright, this moment is a chance to solidify her role as a whistleblower, though it also risks adding fuel to her controversial persona if the evidence falls short. At the heart of this case lies Bryce Shear, a young talent whose experience in a mentorship program linked to Diddy and Will Smith has become a focal point. On the surface, the program promised to nurture aspiring artists, offering access to industry giants. But Wright alleges it was a facade for exploitation, with Shear subjected to degrading and traumatic situations that left him emotionally and professionally broken. She describes a system where young talents were passed around among insiders, their dreams manipulated for the benefit of those in power. Shear's story echoes broader patterns in the entertainment industry, where programs billed as opportunities have historically enabled abuse. Past scandals, from R. Kelly to Harvey Weinstein, have exposed how power dynamics silence victims, often through contracts and NDAs that protect the guilty. Shear's reported legal troubles and emotional instability in the years following his time in the program, the lasting impact of such experiences. If Wright's testimony holds up in court, it could validate Shear's suffering and expose systemic flaws that allowed these practices to persist. The allegations take a darker turn with Wright's claims about Shear's mother, Andrea Mayberry. She accuses Mayberry of knowing about her son's exploitation and possibly enabling it, raising unsettling questions about parental complicity in the pursuit of fame. Wright suggests Mayberry prioritized industry connections and financial benefits over her son's well-being, ignoring warning signs as Shear confided in her about the program's abuses. This narrative fits into a broader pattern of Hollywood stories where parents, seduced by the promise of stardom, overlook or facilitate harm to their children. Documentaries and investigations have long highlighted how families can become entangled in exploitative systems, whether through ambition or fear of losing opportunities. Public reaction to Mayberry's alleged role has been fierce, with social media demanding accountability while others urge caution until more evidence emerges. The debate underscores the complex line between nurturing talent and enabling harm, a tension that has haunted the industry for decades. A $50 million lawsuit filed by Shear against Diddy and Will Smith adds another layer to this saga. The suit alleges that the mentorship program left Shear exploited, violated, and emotionally devastated, seeking not just damages, but a broader reckoning for the industry's practices. Whispers of a blind item circulating in Hollywood suggest Shear may not be the only male victim tied to an A-list mogul, hinting at the potential for more stories to surface. Legal experts believe this lawsuit could force the disclosure of documents and witnesses, exposing long-hidden networks of abuse. Diddy's legal team, in a bold counterplay, is reportedly attempting to subpoena Shear to testify, a move that could aim to discredit him or challenge his claims' legitimacy. This strategy highlights the high stakes, not just for the individuals involved, but for an industry that risks losing its carefully crafted image if these allegations are proven true. A successful lawsuit could inspire other victims to come forward, potentially reshaping the power dynamics that have shielded influential figures for years. The broader implications of this case extend beyond Diddy and Shear. Wright frames it as a reckoning for the music industry, which she argues has long operated under a veneer of glamour that conceals widespread exploitation. She draws parallels to cases like R. Kelly's, where failures to investigate allegations allowed abuses to fester. The music industry, unlike Hollywood, has often lagged in facing such scrutiny, protected by a web of contracts, influence, and silence. Wright's claims, combined with Shear's lawsuit, could disrupt this status quo, forcing a reevaluation of how artists are contracted and how abuses are reported. The meta movement has already weakened the defenses that once kept allegations buried, and a guilty verdict or damning revelations in this case could accelerate demands for transparency. Legal experts suggest it could lead to reforms in artist contracts, reporting mechanisms, and public perception of an industry struggling to maintain trust. Wright's testimony also raises questions about who else might be implicated. She hints at a wide net, suggesting that everyone in the industry should be nervous, though she avoids naming specific figures to sidestep legal repercussions. Her cryptic reference to "who's looking for houses out of the country" implies that powerful players may be bracing for fallout. The case's federal scope underscores its seriousness, with potential witnesses ranging from unexpected celebrities to industry insiders. Wright's refusal to name names publicly reflects her awareness of the legal risks, having faced lawsuits herself for past statements. Yet her presence in the case signals a determination to expose what she calls cruelty-free artistry, a vision for an industry free of exploitation. As the trial unfolds, the public's focus will remain on the evidence, particularly the alleged tapes and Shear's testimony. If substantiated, these could mark a turning point, not just for Diddy's legacy, but for the music industry's future. The case has already sparked conversations about systemic issues, from the role of NDAs in silencing victims to the complicity of those who enable abuse for personal gain. Wright's involvement, whether as a catalyst or a lightning rod, ensures that these discussions won't fade quietly. Her past as a performer, rising from small venues to packed crowds, gives her a unique perspective on the industry's highs and lows. Now, as she steps into the courtroom, she carries the weight of those experiences, aiming to correct the wrongs she witnessed. The next 8 months will be critical. Legal delays, new evidence, and public reactions will shape the case's trajectory, potentially exposing more than just one man's actions. For Diddy, the stakes are his empire. For Shear, it's a chance for justice. And for Wright, it's an opportunity to cement her role as a truth teller. The music industry, long shielded by its own mythology, faces a moment of truth. Whether this trial becomes the catalyst for lasting change or another chapter in a cycle of allegations and denials remains to be seen. What's clear is that the silence that once protected the powerful is fraying, and Jaguar Wright's voice is among those breaking it. As the case evolves, each revelation will sharpen the focus on what's at stake: lives, reputations, and an industry forced to confront its darkest corners.